My name is Martin Potts. I work for Greening Australia. My work is to help revegetate the degraded parts of the Gippsland Lakes. I've lived here for 15 years. I grew up on the Mornington Peninsula. That got overrun with people, so we're here in Gippsland where the wilderness is still wild. I was very fortunate as a boy to feel a sense of belonging on the land where I was born. And to me it's very important that my children feel that sense of belonging. And that's partly, in a sense, understanding the cultural history. It's understanding our ancestral history over the last 400 or 500 years, 1,000 years, that's been lost within our culture. But it's very close here around the Wellington Shire within our traditional knowledge. And a way to understand we're dependent on this land. Those kids are brought up with that understanding, even in just the vegetables we eat for dinner, that they help me grow in the backyard. To have a connection to place that is thankfully a lot here in Wellington, so many places we can enjoy, to remind us that the fresh air and fresh water and fresh food that's produced is a very valuable asset, more valuable than so much of things that we think we need to buy. The history of Wellington is quite diverse, yet it's still very young. So it's really only, we have these trees in the background here that are 500 years old. So they've stood longer on tribal land in wild places than they have in farming land, and now they're in a parks reserve. So one of our key areas looking at water in the lakes is frogs. So we find where the fresh water is, where the breeding spots are for those frogs, and then as the conditions get harsher and harsher, we know those frogs will knuckle down. And then when the wet comes and the floods come, those frogs will disperse out. So we like to understand where they move, how can we help that to expand so the frogs can breed up, and as the weather comes in dry again and we have the hotter climates, they've got a refuge to come back to, and in that time we may have opened up a new one for them and their numbers can increase. I love places like this, and one reason why, and for the Gippsland Lakes, while they're internationally significant, is because of the migratory bird paths. We're having birds arrive here that are coming from Russia and Siberia and Japan, and it's a magnificent sight watching 1,500 birds fly in and land and tumble, and they come here and feed all summer. They'll feed up, they'll start on their flight path back again, and they find their way back to the breeding grounds on the other side of the world.